Good evening, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Let's get this party started. Are you with me? Number one, as always, Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Hey, Dennis, how we doing tonight? How's things in Texas? Angie. You are on my list for tomorrow, Angie. I got stuff for you tomorrow. Zach is watching. Another Angie is watching. Mary Ann's watching across the table from Zach. Hey, Zach, I got invited to the wedding as Little Missy's +1. Just wanted to confirm that with you. Mary Ann promised me that the other night. Yes, it is Wednesday. The days all blend together, and especially I'm putting stuff on my calendar. I think the stuff I put on my calendar for tomorrow I actually added to today, so I'm going to have to check that because I've got a lot of things. Hello, Pasadena. Jenny. Saw an email from you, Jenny. Don't worry, I will get back to you. Karen, hey. Georgia. Tiffany. Hello, Miss Adele. Dana. Alexa! Are you still playing dog groomer, Alexa, or is the dog all done? I got my dogs that need grooming. I'm just saying, Alexa, I'm going to send them your way. Kelly! Got a long email from you, from Albuquerque. Hey, everybody that's emailing me, when you contact me, please include your phone number, because half the time that is my first response to you. Send me your phone number. So, that is a important thing. If I don't have your phone number, I need it. And these comments are coming in so fast and furious. Okay, so let's start off, folks. Give me what we're grateful for. It's Wednesday. What are we grateful for? Oh, so you have an opening, Alexa, to groom my dogs. You know I can do it. I can show up in Texas. It's just as likely for me to hop in the car and be in Texas, tomorrow. I could be recording this from down the street. So, I could be there with Fifi and Max in no time. Ellen's joining us live. Hey, Crystal, great talking with you today. Joanne. Grateful for a sale today. I'm all with that. What else are we grateful for? Jennifer had a fabulous sale today. I am grateful for Little Missy. I love Little Missy. Hey, Jana, how are ya? Kitty, it's a beautiful sunny day. Having your wonderful mom as your boss. Suck up, Zach. True, but suck up. Yes, thankful we don't have the virus. So grateful for this group. A $48 web order. That's great. I packed a couple of $20 ones today. Beautiful weather. Supportive community. It's funny, funny, not funny. The one that, mentioned not having the virus as something they were grateful for. Oh, you got to spend the day with your mom, Angie. That's great. That is awesome. I was talking with one store today, and everybody knows the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, okay? And so I'm going to step back for a serious moment here. It's how do you connect a star to Kevin Bacon? Everybody's 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. And howdy from Houston. Lorraine and Greta, grateful you're living and breathing. And that's where this story goes, Greta, is I was talking with a store owner today, and we were talking about the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon, because now the virus is getting kind of real with people. You know somebody 2 people away from you, 2 separations that has the virus. Kurt, you're in collusion with the White House and the Russians. Yes, accountant. A lot of people are grateful for their accountants nowadays. Okay, but it is getting real enough that you're a couple degrees of separation from somebody that has it or knows somebody that has it. Your customer's friend has it. This is real. It's a very real thing, and that's going up because people are getting tested. So most people again don't get it bad, but we are in that kind of world. So just keep that in mind in all the things you do. That there is a really Great job, Pat, getting your application in. That there is a very real aspect to this. So we have the 6 degrees of separation. Right now, you don't even have 6 degrees of separation to me because you've got me. I am right here. You are not alone running this store, and I am thankful for all of you and that all of you are tuned in tonight. We have got a lot to cover, so this might be a good time to get a clean journal, a clean notepad, and get it ready because we are going to cover a lot of stuff tonight. There's going to be some math involved. Although I do not have the pink calculator, I had a rush. Again, I have been going constant, and one of the ways, people ask how I decompress. One of the ways I decompress, in case you haven't figured it out, is I drive. I drive all the time. I love to drive. It's part of how I decompress. Tonight I was so busy with calls all the way. I had to have Cassandra drive home on the way home from the stores today, and that was wonderful. It was different for her, but it was wonderful. And people were nervous as I was talking to them and FaceTiming. They're like, "You're driving and you're FaceTiming?" And I'm like, "I'm not driving. I am a passenger in the car." And anybody that's ever driven me knows I'm not a great passenger. Ellen Didier, Chic to Chic, who's driven me many times and been my chauffeur many times, knows I am not a good passenger. But I play along well. So I was on the phone FaceTiming the whole way home, and I'm an hour from my store. So that is that. So your topics tonight. Let me... We have a big list tonight and a lot of heavy stuff. Thank you, Ellen. Well, after Duchess Daughter Martini, if that gets me going, I can get my Duchess Daughter Martini and whatever the entree is that you order for me at Duchess Daughter, then I'm really all set. And I can't wait till we can do that again. And I hope that you still have the Great Chic. You probably won't be having the run, but I hope you have still the Great Chic Challenge auction so I can buy my annual gift card to Duchess Daughter. Or I could probably just go there and buy one remotely anyways to help support them because I do love them. Michelle, it's my pleasure to help you. We are not alone. I take every call, every email. I respond to them all. I have a large stack. There's somewhere around 100 emails that I have to respond to right now. But I get to them all. One of the things, this is for you guys to stick in the back of your head. Tomorrow, I am being interviewed by NPR. So what do you want NPR to know about what's happening in business right now? What's scaring your business? How things are happening with how the government programs are rolling out? Just stew on that. Message me on it. But I'm being interviewed with them tomorrow about that. I guess they're getting on the train here because they don't want businesses to be alone running that store, and you are not. So, I want to start off with something funny. I talked the other day about $1 billion, and how much is a billion? 32 years in seconds, okay? So 1 billion seconds is 32 years. Well, $1 billion or $1.5 billion isn't what it used to be, and it's not good enough to be on the S&P 500 anymore because Macy's was taken out of the S&P 500 today because they only have a mere $1.5 billion valuation. I just had to share that for those of us that like useless number details and, hey, I'm full of useless guy information. So, let's talk about the hot topic of the day. Well, Kelly, with reporters, that's as good a guess as mine. But I'll absolutely let you know, and I'll probably get cut because somebody says I talk too much. But hey, let's talk about shelter in place versus stay at home. Okay, and the devil's in the details with that and what the orders actually say. And this is especially for my friends in Georgia, who the news media has said will have a shelter-in-place order by Friday. Well, actually, tomorrow it will be announced and take effect on Friday. Shelter-in-place is most commonly thought of when there's an impending act. This is a disaster, what we're going through as a country, but an immediate impending disaster. Think active shooter. Think chemical plant fire. Think hurricane, things along those lines that have a definite timeline, beginning, end, shelter in place. There's only a couple places that have a true shelter in place, do not leave your premises order in the country right now. Parts of New York, parts of California have that true shelter in place. Every place else, when you get into the actual order, despite what the headline says, it's really a stay-at-home order, okay? And advising best practices to stay at home and to stay and stay out of things. In any of these orders, when you get into the details, you can still be in your business protecting your goods. In many cases now, you can't be doing curbside pickup. Again, some of this is very state, and some of it's even county and local specific. These county and city health inspectors are really getting a power trip, and part of that is a lack of a national standard on this. And I'm not getting political. I'm not, pro-Trump, anti-Trump. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not touching that with a 6-foot pole. But what I am getting at is if we had a national standard on this and it was issued nationally and could be implemented the same across the country, but that is not what's happening. We all saw Marianne Evans' picture with the police officer the other day. Julie, 40 miles away, still in Illinois, is there and doing things. So, you're going to end out with some local variations to this, but ultimately you can be in your buildings protecting your goods, okay, as a business owner. And you do get into some, localities where you can't have other staff in there, you can't be doing other things. Most of it deals with the other phrase that comes into play here is dealing with, whether you can have staff or not have staff in there, deals with whether they can work remotely or not, or whether it would be possible for their work to be done remotely. And most of the orders deal with that and allow people in because of that. So those are the couple nuances to keep in mind as you're dealing with it. It'll be very interesting to read the governor of Georgia's actual order once it's issued. Right now, it's just a headline. Right now, it's just a soundbite. Okay? Preparing people for a week of not being, trying to stay home and trying to, again, prevent the spread. We're really trying to prevent the spread in the next town over for us. They're doing a lot of prep, and the media is going all over it, okay? In the town over from where my stores are, they are prepping a college gymnasium field house to be used as the state's mortuary. And it sounds awful in the headlines, but it's good that they're preparing, because they're preparing a central spot in the state, and it's right in our backyard. But they are preparing that spot, and we hope with all the things they're preparing that they don't need it. And we'll really know in the next couple of weeks whether our death count goes up in the country. There's going to be more. We don't want any of that. And so doing what we can to help prevent the spread is important in minimizing contact. So that's the big issue. And I will again touch on that as needed once the official order from the governor of Georgia is out. But right now, that is what I say on that, because you Georgia people especially have been blowing up my contact this afternoon on all this. So that's why I wanted to deal with that here and deal with it right at the top. Okay, we saw posted. I've been telling you since the beginning of this. Check your bank, check your credit cards. Fraud is real. The fraudsters work overtime, and especially over the weekend. They ramp up. So keep an eye on your bank accounts. Keep an eye on your credit cards. Check those statements and look for fraudulent transactions. We had one person post today about $16,000 in fraudulent charges. Okay, keep an eye on that stuff. The quicker you catch it, the quicker it can be fixed. Of course, sorry to hear that, Jennifer, that it happened to you too. But yes, if you keep an eye on it, it's easy to fix, okay? And sadly, most of us are running out of money, so it's less likely for them to actually get anything. But yes, credit card fraud and everything is on the rise. All that fraud is completely on the rise right now. The criminals are working overtime because we are all distracted with life. okay, and the stresses of life and the stresses of becoming a school teacher at home and all the other things that we are taking on. Hey, Sonia, how is my favorite Southern friend? I can't wait to come back to Alabama and have some fried okra and just have some Southern hospitality with you. We're trying to plan our post-vacation. Cassandra, post this vacation, I really want one. Cassandra's really putting the nix on the cruise idea. I like the cruise because we're way out there, but one of the best vacations we've had as a family is also Gulf Shores, Alabama. So nothing better than that. So I am sure, we had a house right there on the beach there one year. Your PayPal account turned French? Bonjour. Michelle, are you sure your kid didn't do that? My daughter likes to play with that in the car sometimes and just screw that up with me on the right buttons. Lately, my Waze has been changed to Cookie Monster. On that last trip that I did, anybody that was calling me during it, I think even when I did some of the videos that I did while I was driving, you heard Cookie Monster giving me directions in there. I don't play with that stuff. I used to be really much more technically with it all, but that. The other thing we have to talk about right at the top here, and I don't feel like we're at the top anymore because we've just been going. I almost think that when I run out of scotch is when these programs should end each night, but we keep on going until all your questions are answered. But I've been doing a number on this glass already. Is the SBA programs and such. I know for a lot of you who don't look at your numbers. You're not numbers people. You don't have everything at the tip of your fingertips and everything else. I want to go on a cruise, Russell. They are great deals. That's why I want to book one. I like being in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, except for that Resale World cruise. There was a lot of, as fun as it was to be with everybody, that was a lot of work, that trip. And, but that's a whole separate story. There are no videos or pictures of that. With the SBA programs and loans, do not fall victim to someone charging you to help you get through this. Someone to help you get through the applications, to help you get it processed. Do not let someone charge you. There are people charging from $500 to several $1,000s to get you through the SBA loan process, to get you through the PPP loans, to get you through any of that. Do not pay anyone for this. Talk about getting hacked and stolen from. Do not do that. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, it can be cumbersome. Some of these forms, some of these processes. The only person, if you pay anyone anything, is an accountant that you currently do business with. An accountant you currently do business with. Not some accountant who contacts you and says, I can help you with that. Just write me a check. Do not, okay? If you need something better to do with your money than that, I hear there's a toilet paper shortage, use it for that. Although I did like the single sheet toilet paper dispenser picture Russell posted earlier of using your tag printer as a toilet paper dispenser and only one sheet at a time. You press the button and one sheet pops out. I thought that was kind of cool. He posted that earlier. If you haven't seen that graphic, that was truly a great one. I did enjoy that. And keep in mind, and don't get frustrated that other companies are trying to make themselves essential. There is a company I enjoy shopping in, and I was really kind of surprised on it, but it's hard being in business. I don't care whether you're the big guy or the little guy. There are a lot of expenses, and it's hard. And Hobby Lobby, if you hadn't heard, has been trying to stay open in most of the states they operate in. And their reasoning or their justification is that they sell educational materials and items for home-based businesses. Has been the justification that they have used in communities that have challenged them. And I love to go through Hobby Lobby and get inspired and look at some of the things, and I love seeing what people create with some of the things in Hobby Lobby. But don't get frustrated, and I don't care whether it's a big business or small business. Do what's right for you, do what's right for your store, do what's right for your community, and you'll always be on the right side of things. Okay, so we talked about 6 degrees of unemployment. Let me just touch on that. Because people have asked about the extra $600 part. That is a 4-month thing from the federal government that they will be adding to unemployment checks in the months of April, May, June, and July. But the goal is to get everybody back in employment sooner than that. So just so you know when that's taking effect, if your employees are asking you when they're going to get that extra $600, if you yourself have filed for unemployment, which I've talked to many of you about, and you're wondering what weeks you're going to start getting that extra $600, it is supposed to start hitting for the payroll weeks of starting in April. So the completion of this week, that'll be paid by most unemployment systems next week, and moving forward is supposed to be the extra $600. But the goal of all these programs that the government is doing is to get people back on the payrolls. Okay, so let's talk the big topic tonight. Our big thing is the developments today in the PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, or whatever the actual acronyms. I am government acronymed out with all the people I have talked to today, so I apologize for that. But I'm never that great with it. Names and acronyms to begin with. I'll talk to you. I'll respond to you separately, Jenny, because that's a separate situation. So I will get back to you on that. But that is a case by case thing that I got to discuss with you. So the other credit that I have to talk to you about, because in the final things that were put out today and published, I have all this in writing, and I'll put all this out there tomorrow and post it on the NARTS board tomorrow. But you have a choice of taking the PPP and the grant, which I'm going to go into again tonight in detail because there's been some updates to it. Okay? And I'm going to talk to you about the employee retention tax credit. Okay? Leave it alone, Krita. It's sort of a state thing, and don't worry about it. Michelle, it is still in the works, but it is coming. I'm not sure if they're 100% going to have it this week. They're really, really trying, and you live in one of the most progressive states to actually have it in this week. But if it isn't this week, it'll definitely be next week. So hang in there just a little bit longer with me. Help is on the way with that. So let's talk about employee retention credit. So those of you with larger payrolls, and for the most part, I'm going to say, because I've been doing this math with people today, and it is an individual thing, but if your payroll is over $500,000 a year, which some of you are, and I know that's a big number, and I don't throw these numbers around to say, oh, they're such a big place, or you're such a little place. My payroll's only, $50,000 a year, and their payroll's $500,000. How can I? This is not about comparison. This is not about embarrassment. This is not about anything except for just facts, people. Facts, facts, facts. Don't get hung up on the numbers or the details. So there is a payroll tax credit that you can take advantage of instead of the PPP. The payroll tax credit credits you half of an employee's payroll up to $20,000 for periods where your sales dropped by more than 50% to the comparable quarter. Gross receipts are below 50% of the comparable quarter in 2019. Once your receipts go above 80% of the comparable quarter of 2019, you no longer qualify. So in each quarter that you're below 50% below the previous quarter in revenue, okay, you can claim this credit up to $10,000 per employee. So it's a 50% credit of their wages up to $10,000, and it's on an individual employee basis, not on your whole payroll. So it's not like you can take your payroll for that quarter and divide it by 2 and take a credit. and get a check from the government for it. You can take your each individual's payroll during that quarter and take it. If you take that, okay, which for some of you with higher payrolls and higher head counts, okay, and I worked with some businesses that this actually benefits, okay, taking this tax credit is huge. You can also not send in any of your federal payroll taxes because of that. So that is huge. If you have a larger payroll and a larger head count, that could benefit you more than the PPP, especially if your sales are down for a longer period of time. I certainly think a lot of people could say in the current quarter it will be, but we don't know the future. So you need that out there to know about it. I will post about it tomorrow. I'll post the fact sheet on it that I have, and I'm happy to help anyone that has a bigger payroll do the math. Okay, it's all about doing the math and doing your numbers so that you know where things lie. And but most average businesses, most stores are going to be much better with the PPP because it provides liquidity, it provides money now. So let's get into what's happened with the PPP today. And it's good stuff. Okay, so the PPP, yes, Alexa, you do have to go to a private lender, although the application is available in the NARTS website. You can, I put the application that you will have to go to your private lender for in the NARTS website. It's in the files section. I posted it there this morning. And that'll be what you need. And it's right in the NARTS files section. Uh-oh, Fifi's here. Oh, Fifi's going to sleep. Find a place to lay down. So that is important. So let's talk about the PPP. Okay, the PPP you can start applying for with your local SBA lender on Friday. Most people's banks are an SBA approved lender for this program. It is an extremely simple application. When you see it, it's 2 pages long. It is incredibly simple. The biggest, hardest part of the number is calculating your last 12 months payroll. You're dividing it by 12, multiplying it by 2.5. Form walks you right through it. There's a bunch of self-certifications that you're not committing fraud. The cool thing with this, or the goal with this program, is you can start applying on Friday. The government wants you to be able to apply in the morning and have money in your bank account that afternoon. Super cool, right? That's a wonderful thing. Apply in the morning, have 2.5 months of payroll in your account that afternoon. That sounds wonderful. It's on a piece of paper. Even when I say it, it sounds terrific. Woohoo! Payroll! Hey, I want to share another funny story. Break on this for a second while I'm doing woohoo. You know, people crave interaction, whether it's doing the woohoo like I'm doing right now, or even at our own bank, because you can't bank right now unless you're going through the drive-thru. But our bank happens to be right across from the post office. And I have no deposits to take to the bank right now, but I did have some packages to ship, and I can't schedule a pickup because I don't know when we're going to be there, and they're not even delivering mail to our store right now. But I went and dropped off my packages at the post office, and then, came across the street to the bank. I probably even jaywalked, okay? I hope the Leominster Police Department was not watching. Hey, I'm going to cover that, Dana. Hang on one second. And, there were my bankers working at their desks and everything, and I went up to the windows and I danced for their windows. I did the moves like Jagger all across the bank windows today and just made them smile. They're hurting too. They missed seeing us. They missed being able to talk to us. They missed being able to have us come in and hear what's happening with us and our businesses and our families. Everybody's having a missing connection right now, and it was really great. It brightened their whole day. It was just awesome. So let's get back into the PPP. So yes, Dana, there is talk that they could run out of money. They will not ultimately run out of money. They may have to replenish the money, okay, to the fund that they are using. But the great thing is the people that are funding it can actually print more. Okay? So there will not be a true liquidity problem with money. But part of it is a goal to get your application in earlier. Part of it also is what your relationship is with your banker. Again, I tell you this time and time again. Relationships is what gets you through bad times, whatever those bad times are. And let's not forget, we have survived 100% of our worst days, 100%, and we will survive this too. But relationships helps that along an awful lot. An awful lot. It really does. Okay? And so I will be asking my bankers to approve and not fund it yet. And here's why. Okay, there are two calculations for how that loan converts to a grant now. Two calculations, and I'm going to cover them both. So this is the math portion of our program tonight. Okay, and they've lowered the threshold. Remember, we kept on talking about 90%. Now we're going to talk about 75%. 75% is the updated threshold, okay, of restoration of payroll, okay, that you have to do in your business. The choice is, for calculating that 75%, is one of two things. It is either 8 weeks, the payroll for the 8 weeks following date of disbursement. Okay, so that we've been talking about all along. The 8 weeks following disbursement. So you have to maintain 75% of your payroll, of your pre-disaster payroll, for the 8 weeks following disbursement of the loan. So if you take the loan on Friday, you apply Friday morning, you're first in line at the bank Friday morning, and you get disbursed money Friday afternoon, April 3rd, that starts your 8-week clock ticking if that's the method you're using. The other option is to have a 30-day wait on that, okay? So you can wait 30 days, you can take the money, and instead of an 8-week calculation, it's 30 days from disbursement starts the clock. But if you use that calculation, you have to keep the 75%, and you have to keep them employed. So you can't have a layoff again. So you can't say, if you're using that calculation, in the middle of May or early June when staffing levels, when sales levels didn't restore to what you thought they would normally be in June, you can't lay somebody off or reduce your payroll hours. You have to maintain that through June 30th. If you don't maintain it, it converts to a loan instead of it doesn't convert to a grant, it remains a loan. Because all these are loans initially at 0.5% interest for anybody that I'm talking to in this group. There are bigger companies where it is a higher interest rate, but on all amounts that anybody here would be getting, it's a 0.5% interest loan with interest and payments deferred. Because the interest and payments are both deferred because they intend on converting it to a grant. The other part of this, okay, that has been confusing has been whether you could have both a economic injury disaster loan and a PPP. You can have both, okay, if you already have an economic injury disaster loan that you got between January 31st and Friday. If you want to, you can convert that loan into the PPP that'll be forgiven. You don't have to, but you can. So that's important to know. I don't know anybody that's listening to me tonight that has an economic injury disaster loan already, but from this disaster. But if you did, you could convert that. And so that's important to know, and that is the confusing part. But you can absolutely have both. It has been clarified. I have it all in writing, and I will post it all tomorrow. But that is the key. The other key is, in the payroll calculation, it is payroll up to $100,000, $99,999.99. Payroll amounts above that for individuals, okay, where a lot of owners pay themselves more than that, Okay? Again, no judgment on people that don't. My only judgment for any store owner is that if you don't put a value on yourself, nobody will. So I'm not saying that you should put an insane value or a low value, but you should always have a value on yourself. But that's a totally separate presentation that I could do a whole hour on just paying yourself. And when we have a slow news day, I will. Okay, but that is the calculation for that. And you can have both loans, so that's okay. The $10,000 advance, Alexa, they are saying they're going to apply to the PPP, even though it's part of the economic injury disaster loan, if you took the $10,000 advance. If you don't have any employees, Ashley, then they will calculate it for the self-employed. Those loans actually don't open for another week. So you can't apply for the PPP for another week, where they then open it back up to people that are self-employed, but you can still get it. Now, the other part of this is the other 25%. I said, if you followed me, you heard that it could hit the 75% threshold, and it would get forgiven if you maintain payrolls at 75%. The other 25% of money can be used for rent, utility payments and interest payments on obligations that existed before the disaster. So that can be used, and under it can be forgiven. So the whole thing can be forgiven if, again, you're maintaining the 75% of payroll. So the key obviously comes around when you'll be able to resume some level of normal operation. Because you also want, like I met with one business this afternoon who was like, well, I'm sort of maintaining some of this and everything else, and that's okay. I'm like, but you're registered, and so if I bring my payroll back up fully, then I'll be able to take advantage of it. I said, but your register isn't ringing. I said, so having that payroll at that level, with the government subsidizing it, which is great, love somebody else paying my payroll. Somebody else can cover it all the time, quite honestly. I'd be very, very happy. You can cover my payroll account anytime you want. But if you have that when your register isn't ringing, it doesn't do you a lot of good. For example, in Massachusetts, where my stores are, we're allowed to reopen as of right now, we are closed. We are under mandatory closure till May 4th. Okay? So, I am hopeful and optimistic. I'd be happy to cover that again for you, Joanne. There's not a rewind button. There's not a 10 seconds back or something like on your remote at home, huh? I gotta have fun with this. That's what keeps me sane, is my bad sense of humor. If we open on May 4th, if we're able to open, I doubt my register will be ringing at full tilt. So I'm really looking forward to delaying taking the money as long as possible. But when my bank says, here, you got to take it, the payback and delaying the payback period. So the 30-day payback period. So your options are the payroll 8 weeks following taking it, or your payroll at maintaining 75%, okay, starting 30 days after the disbursement of funds. So if you take funds on Friday, April 3rd, when they want you to take it, okay, Friday, April 3rd, apply in the morning, money in your account Friday afternoon, okay? If you're using the 30-day calculation, that would mean you have to have payrolls back to 75% by May 3rd, that's step one, and then you have to maintain that till June 30th. If, for example, you waited a week or two to take the disbursement, and you were at April 15th or April 20th when you actually took the disbursement, that would give you till May 20th or May 15th to restore your payroll to 75%, and then only maintain it for 45 days, okay, or 40 days until June 30th. So those are the two calculations. It's a really nice option if you can delay taking it. And I know that the talk of them running out of money, they won't run out of money, but it's better to have it committed, and that's where relationships count. So I'll be calling Nikki and Cheryl at the bank and saying, hey, here, everything's in, here's my application, do not fund this yet, okay? Secure my spot in line, okay, because I want it, okay? But do not fund it yet, because and fund it as late as you can, because I am under forced closure, okay? And I don't want that clock to start ticking on the grant sooner rather than later. Now, if conditions are worse, because I've had some of you asking me that, now if conditions lasted longer than what's expected, again, the whole idea is to get the country back to work. Get the country back to work, that will get them spending again, get people off unemployment, the psychology of unemployment, and get them working. Okay, that is yes, the money you pay yourself absolutely counts as part of payroll, up to $100,000. Over $100,000, it does not. So if conditions warrant longer store closures and such as that, I would expect the government will extend these deadlines. But that's the contract that exists right now when you go in and turn this application in on Friday. Michelle, on how long can we wait to apply for the PPP? Part of that depends on your relationship with your bank. If you bank with one of the big guys, and you don't have a relationship with your local branch manager and people that you can count on, you may have to apply sooner than you would like. If you apply, I intend on applying and having it all in there, but having my bank not fund it until a later time. People that are on owner's draw and not on payroll can't be counted in, but it can be counted in when they allowed for self-employed to apply next week, okay? I'm recommending people do both the PPP, Ashley, and the SBA. And I'm not saying spend all the money, but park it. Get it in. We don't know how long this crisis is going to go on. You should absolutely do the PPP regardless, unless you're a high payroll company and can take advantage of the tax credit, but you should absolutely do that because that's the granted money. The SBA loan is a loan, but it has no payments for a year. You can park it and have extra working capital on the side. You just have to be disciplined with it. I don't want people getting into trouble with it and advocating long-term debt. But I do want to make sure every store here survives. My goal is every store open, every store survive, because the best days of retail are ahead of us, not behind us. The best days are ahead. Do not forget that the best days are ahead, because we are absolutely on a train forward. Crystal, no taxes, no property taxes, just payroll taxes. Relationships are everything, Michelle. Absolutely they are. This is what gets us to the other side. This is why I say don't choose the lowest. It's about getting a fair price, not the lowest price. There's always somebody that'll beat you with the lowest price. But relationships are everything. That's why you're not alone running this store. That's why I am all with you. That is why I am walking this path with you, okay? Because we have a relationship. You're only one step away from Neil, okay? There's not 6 degrees of separation from Neil. Ask anybody who I've called today, who we FaceTimed with. I have been constant all day long, and I'm doing that because you're not alone, okay? I am there for everybody. And I will post the info sheets that I have on this in writing tomorrow, because after this it's dinner time, and in case anybody can figure out what's for dinner, let's see. Who did I help late in the day that happens to run a pizza restaurant? Oh, yes, pizza and eggplant parm and a salad, I think, are for dinner tonight. One step, but 6 feet. Yes, that's absolutely. We have to keep 6 feet between us right now, but we are all together. There will be a time where we are all together again in person, and we're going to have a hell of a party when that happens. I think I'm going to do a nationwide tour at everybody's stores. I think Angie sent me a picture of her RV, or sent my wife a picture. So maybe Angie will drive the bus, and we'll just do a nationwide tour. And I'll be coming and visiting everyone's stores on the pink bus with the pink calculator, and we will just celebrate getting to the other side of this, because this is a journey and we will all get there. Payroll company expense. Yes, the fees for that. Yes, we will, Kitty, all the way. And yes, health insurance can be included. All payroll. Hang on a second, I got my list right here, my notes. All salary, vacation, sick time, health insurance, group insurance. Like I give disability and life insurance to my employees, to my full-time employees. The whole company pays for that, because that type of insurance is so important. And if I made my employees pay into it, they wouldn't sign up for it, because they don't know how important it is until they need it. And state and local payroll taxes can be included. Yes, LLC salaries that are considered can be considered in a PPP, but some of those are going to, depending on how you're structured, Danielle, and how you're paying that, you may not fall into this week's application process. You may fall into next week's. But I'm happy to look at that on the other side, and just email me. Again, I am so easily accessible. You email me at Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com. That's Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can call me. So many of you know me and have my number. It's you're in the book. You can find me anywhere. You can find all these resources at narts.org/resalestrong, including a link to the Facebook videos where all of them are replayed and stored the next day onto the YouTube channel that is there. The YouTube channel is not alone running this store, because you are not alone running this store. Email me, I'll call you. The most important thing in an email, if you email me or contact me in any way, and I like email over Facebook just because it's easier for me to keep organized, even though there's hundreds in there, okay, is make sure you include your phone number, because so many of your questions, it's much, much easier to call you. FaceTime with you. If you see a 508 number show up in your phone, answer it. The other area code to watch for on your phone and answer is 817. 817 means the SBA disaster response team is calling you to follow up on your application. Answer their call, because if they leave you a message, how easy do you think it's going to get a hold of that person again? We are all there. We are all in this together. You are not alone running this store. I will see you tomorrow night at 8. I will post things in the morning. And I will prep things for this NPR interview. God only knows what we're going to do with that. Have a great night, everybody. I got some pizza waiting for me.